Look at my body.
With that, my sister-in-law began to take off her clothes in my room. I was confused as one piece of clothing after another fell onto the bed. A shirt made of soft-looking material, then pants and underwear, and more clothes just piled up. "No, wait a minute!" I panicked and tried to stop her, but she didn't stop her hands. I couldn't bear it any longer and shut my eyes tightly. It became quiet, and I realized that the last piece of clothing had been removed. Finally, when she was completely naked, she said to me again,
Please. Look.
"I am Luke, a 32-year-old office worker, and I have one older brother. My brother Jack and his wife Emily have been childhood friends since we were young, and the three of us often played together. 5 years ago, Jack and Emily got married, and a year later, they were blessed with a daughter named Stella. Despite the changing dynamics, the closeness between Emily and me remained the same, and we often went out together with Stella when Jack was busy. Little did I know that things would turn out like this. It all started on the day Emily took off her clothes. At the sound of Emily's voice, which seemed to be in pain, I prepared myself and slowly opened my eyes. "What?" To my surprise, I couldn't hide my shock. Emily has red-black scars and purple bruises on her pale skin. Even to an amateur eye, there were plenty of them, ranging from old to new, too numerous to count. Clearly, these were not naturally occurring, and I was taken aback. "What happened? Those marks!" When I asked hesitantly, there was a moment of silence, and she seemed to struggle with how to convey it. After about 2 minutes, Emily tearfully whispered,
It was done by Jack, your brother.
At first, I couldn't comprehend it. Slowly piecing together the meaning of her words, I was simultaneously shocked. "Jack did that?" Certainly, Jack had been the type to lose his temper and throw punches during childhood fights, leaving me covered in bruises. For a moment, painful memories flashed through my mind, but that was when we were kids. As he grew older, he mellowed out, and the idea of him being violent toward a woman, especially Emily, our childhood friend and now his wife, was unthinkable.
For about a year now, it's been happening every day. At first, I thought it was stress from work and parenting.
The situation escalated day by day, and she started receiving verbal abuse regularly.
I couldn't bear it anymore.
Emily continued.
Today, that person forcibly kicked me out. I couldn't bring my daughter with me. With no other family, it's just you, Luke.
Emily lost her parents early on and was raised by her grandparents. However, recently, her grandparents passed away, leaving only me and Jack as her family. That's why I couldn't believe Jack would do such a thing to Emily, who had been like a true family member since childhood.
It's hard to suddenly say something like this, but I have no one else to rely on.
I was shocked and couldn't find words. Although he usually helped with household chores and parenting, there was a sudden switch in his behavior. Having experienced similar harm from Jack during my own childhood, I found Emily's words credible. I covered her trembling shoulders with a blanket.
I've endured it because I didn't want to take my daughter's father away, but I've reached my limit.
She said tearfully. Why is he doing this to Emily, who sacrificed herself to protect her child? Yet, at the same time, I felt pathetic for not knowing anything for a whole year. I went through something similar as a child, too. I believe you, Emily. I'm sorry I didn't notice sooner.
Luke isn't at fault. I'm also to blame for hiding it.
Emily, with tears in her eyes, looked truly distressed. I'll find a way to save Emily. And I can't let Jack continue like this. Feeling strongly in my heart, I shared a plan. Emily, it might be tough, but will you give it your best? Emily looked directly into my eyes and nodded quietly. However, conflicting feelings about trusting Jack still swirled within me. 2 weeks later, Jack suddenly visited my house. When I saw Jack's face, I remembered Emily, and anger threatened to overwhelm me, but we were still in the middle of that plan. I deliberately feigned calmness. Jack threw his legs onto the table and sat down.
Hey!
Jack had been silent since arriving home, and now he began speaking in an irritable tone.
Emily came to your place 2 weeks ago, right? What were you doing?
I couldn't hide my surprise. Emily had later told me she hadn't revealed her whereabouts that night, so how did he know she was here?
Look at this!
On Jack's smartphone screen, there was a red dot displayed on what seemed like a map. It was the kind you often see in movies.
It's GPS. I put it on Emily because I love her. And yet, her affair partner turns out to be my own brother.
Apparently, I was suspected of being Emily's affair partner. Jack expressed love for Emily, but it seemed more like possessiveness. Concealing my agitation and anger, I denied it. No, it's not like that. That day, I was discussing Stella's situation. Ouch! Suddenly, a dull sound echoed, and the taste of blood filled my mouth. A few seconds later, I realized I'd been punched.
Don't play dumb. Emily's erased all the emails between you two. Clearly, it's an affair.
Deleting the email history was something I asked Emily to do. We couldn't risk Jack discovering our plan. And judging by his behavior, it seemed to be working.
Listen, if you make any suspicious moves again or tell anyone about today, it won't end well.
Jack said this, kicked the trash can in the room, and left the house. My cheek throbbed from the blow. Jack, now an adult, packed a punch far beyond what he did during our childhood. I trembled with anger, wondering how Emily endured this. That night, Emily called me. Jack was apparently out, and she timed her call carefully.
Jack gleefully talked about hitting you. I didn't know I was being tracked with GPS. I'm sorry.
She apologized. It's okay. Besides, we still have our plan, right? After a brief silence, Emily murmured.
Thank you.
Then she continued.
There's something I need to tell you. Stella has been unusually afraid of dark places lately, so I asked her about it. It seems Jack has been locking Stella in the closet.
Stella?
Yes. When I asked Stella, she said she was too scared to tell me about Dad.
I was stunned. Jack seemed to target the times when Emily was away, and it's no wonder she hadn't noticed. Not only his wife, but also their 4-year-old daughter endured such cruelty. I must never forgive Jack. That decision echoed in my heart.
That's not all. He took away the savings I'd accumulated even before we got married, claiming it was punishment for my affair with you.
That's...
He even forced me to reveal my account PIN. Probably used that money for...
Understood. Let's settle this soon. Is our plan working as expected?
Yes.
Then let's execute it soon. With those words, we hung up. The time for revenge against Jack had finally come. 2 days later, I called Jack to my house, saying I had something to discuss. Jack, being lazy, was reluctant at first, but when I mentioned it was about Emily, he reluctantly agreed. The plan was to have Emily and Stella evacuate to a safe place after Jack left the house and join the conversation via speakerphone.
What's this about? Finally ready to confess your affair with Emily?
Jack still thought I was having an affair with Emily and seemed pleased to finally corner me. Despite having repeatedly hit her and going out to have fun himself, he had the nerve to say that. I called you here to talk, Jack. Emily will join us over the phone. First, I want you to see this. I took out a small black device from the desk. It was the same one I had given to Emily the other day.
A camera?
Yes, a hidden camera. I had it hidden in your house. Jack's face showed a mix of anger, confusion, and panic. He seemed to realize the significance of this. You understand, right? This camera has recorded you hitting Emily and Stella.
I'll just destroy it.
It's useless. The data is saved on a certain computer. Jack's panic and confusion turned entirely into anger. He stood up roughly and grabbed me by the collar. His pupils were dilated, indicating extreme agitation.
You think you can get away with this?
Jack started hitting me repeatedly. His punches were heavy, and each blow to my cheek caused a dull pain. When I tried to protect my face, he targeted my ribs. My whole body hurt, and tears welled up in my eyes. But there was a reason I let him do this. Eventually, Jack stopped, seemingly satisfied.
Now you see who's in charge? Tell me where the computer is.
The one who doesn't understand is you. Jack! Did you think I wouldn't take any precautions after you hit me last time? This is all recorded too. Yes, I had also set up hidden cameras in my own house. Jack clicked his tongue loudly and kicked the chair he had been sitting on.
So, you're going to use that video to reform me? The problem isn't me, it's those idiots.
He showed no remorse, and hearing him say this in front of Emily, even over the phone, made me no longer see him as family. Jack, the video of you hitting Emily has already been submitted to the police. I said calmly, wiping the blood from my cheek. My plan was to record the daily assaults and report them to the police. I had made Emily endure it to gather evidence.
I just reported it to the police, so they'll be here in about 10 minutes.
The police?
On the other end of the phone, Emily seemed to realize that Jack was physically hurting me and had called the police. Jack was clearly flustered, his face pale, and sweat forming. Then he said,
I was wrong.
Huh?
I promise I won't do it again.
He suddenly started apologizing. Jack's abrupt change surprised me. However,
I'm apologizing here. Surely Emily will forgive me too, right?
and that's what Jack said. In the end, it seemed he was just afraid of police involvement, a despicable person.
I won't forgive you. You can't expect forgiveness after what you did to Stella as well.
Over the phone, Emily expressed her opinion clearly. It was surprising that Jack thought he could get away with hitting his wife and daughter daily, as long as he apologized.
Why? Didn't we promise to love each other no matter what?
The one who broke that relationship first was probably you, Jack.
I don't think of you as my husband anymore. I've asked an acquaintance who's a lawyer to fight thoroughly.
Jack, now desperate, was being contradicted by Emily, who had always obeyed him.
I'm sorry. I truly am. So, please, spare me from the police.
Jack repeated his apologies many times, but neither Emily nor I had any intention of forgiving him. Soon, the sound of sirens echoed, and the police arrived.
Please, forgive me.
Finally, Jack started crying loudly, desperately clinging to me with a tear-streaked face. I pushed his hand away, and Jack was taken away by the police, closing the curtain on our revenge drama. A year later, Jack faced charges of assault and intimidation based on the evidence we submitted. But even in prison, he caused trouble repeatedly, and his sentence kept getting longer. In addition, he was ordered to pay compensation to Emily and child support for Stella, accumulating significant debt. Jack was estranged from his parents, with no allies left. Emily found a good person who loved her, knowing everything, at her workplace. They promised to marry. This person also had a good relationship with Stella, treating her like a real daughter. Stella gradually recovered from her trauma, and next year, she'll be in elementary school. I'm looking forward to seeing Stella as an elementary school student.
How did you like this story? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Well then, let's see you in the next video.